sun was barely rising over Los Angeles, casting a warm glow over the quiet streets. Keanu Reeves strolled through the neighborhood, enjoying a rare moment of peace. The air was crisp, carrying the distant scent of fresh-cut grass and morning coffee. Life had been moving fast, too fast. But today he had a sliver of time to just exist. No cameras, no scripts, no expectations. And then he saw it. A small lemonade stand. It was nothing fancy, just a simple folding table draped with a white cloth, a pitcher of golden liquid, and a neatly handwritten sign, "A lemonade, a cup of happiness for $1. Behind the stand, a young girl stood with a hopeful yet shy smile, her voluminous curls catching the sunlight. She waved hesitantly at the few passers-by, her eyes filled with something Keanu couldn't quite place. A quiet determination mixed with an unspoken sadness. Curious and with an easy smile, he approached. "Well, this is a sight I haven't seen in years," he said warmly. "Is this a lemonade stand I see?" The girl's eyes widened in recognition for a split second before she quickly masked her surprise. "Yes, sir. $1 a cup," she said, her voice carrying a hint of nervous excitement. Keanu chuckled and pulled out a $5 bill. "Tell you what, I'll take one and you can keep the change. That way, you've already got a generous customer first thing in the morning." The girl, Clara, as indicated by the name embroidered on her apron, blinked before breaking into a wide smile. "Really? Wow, thank you." She carefully poured a cup and handed it to him. "I hope you like it." Keanu took a sip. The moment the lemonade hit his tongue, a refreshing burst of citrus washed over him, perfectly balanced between tart and sweet. "This," he said, pointing at the cup, "might just be the best lemonade in the city." Clara let out a light-hearted laugh. "I'm glad you think so." As they talked, Keanu noticed something about her. A certain way she carried herself, her enthusiasm sometimes flickering into moments of hesitation. She was bright, kind, and quick-witted, but there was something deeper beneath the surface. And then a simple moment changed the entire conversation. "Oda, I have to say I love your hair," Keanu said, gesturing to her dark curls. "They're amazing." Clara's smile faltered slightly. "Really? Thanks, some girls at school think it looks weird. I've thought about straightening it, just to fit in." Keanu tilted his head, thoughtful. "That's crazy. People spend fortunes trying to stand out, and here you are thinking of changing something that makes you unique. Trust me, the world needs more originality, not less." Clara was quiet for a moment before her smile returned, this time with a different kind of confidence. "Well, I guess I'll keep it this way then." Keanu grinned. "Good choice." But there was still something tugging at him. "So tell me," he asked casually, "why a lemonade stand? Decided to start your own business empire?" Clara fidgeted slightly, playing with an empty cup. "Oh, I just thought it'd be a good idea for the summer," she said, her voice carefully measured. Keanu could tell there was more to it than that, but he didn't push. Instead, he chuckled. "Well, you definitely have a talent for it. I'd say I'm almost an expert on lemonade, and this one gets a solid 5 stars. Clara laughed, relaxing again. "An expert on lemonade?" "Shoo!" Dramatically, "Don't tell anyone." They shared a moment of genuine connection, but as he walked away, something still lingered in his mind. There was a story behind that lemonade stand, and he wasn't done uncovering it. The next morning, Keanu returned. This time, he wasn't empty-handed. He carried a bag of fresh fruit he had picked up from the market, an idea already forming in his mind. "Good morning, Clara," he greeted, setting the bag on the table. "Thought you could use these to add a little extra flair to your stock." Clara's eyes widened in surprise. "Whoa, thank you, but you really didn't have to do that." Keanu shrugged. "It was no trouble. Besides, this is the best lemonade in LA. Gotta make sure it stays that way." Clara giggled as she inspected the fruit. "Maybe I could try making strawberry lemonade, or lemon with mint." Keanu pulled up a plastic chair beside the stand. Now that sounds like a solid business move. He wasn't just here for the lemonade anymore. He was here for the story. The next morning, Keanu was back. But this time, he wasn't just coming for lemonade. He was coming for answers. As he rounded the corner, he saw Clara already setting up her stand, carefully arranging the cups and straightening the sign as if this little patch of sidewalk was the most important stage in the world. "A morning, Clara," Keanu greeted, setting down a small paper bag on the table. She looked up and grinned. "You really weren't kidding about coming back, huh?" I told you. Best lemonade in town. He tapped the bag. And I brought something extra, a little surprise. Clara hesitated for a second before peeking inside. Her eyes lit up. A no-way theater masks? I thought they might give your stand some character, Keanu said casually. You said you loved theater, so why not bring a little drama to the lemonade business? Clara laughed, shaking her head. You're serious about this, aren't you? Dead serious. Keanu leaned against the table, studying her. You miss it, don't you? Clara sighed, running her fingers over the smooth surface of one of the masks. A lot. But things are different now. Keanu could feel it. That wall she kept putting up every time the conversation got too close to the truth. But he wasn't about to push her. Instead, he reached for the lemonade. All right, hit me with your new recipe. Did you try the strawberry? Clara snapped out of her thoughts and smiled. I did. You get to be the first official taste tester. She poured a cup, and Keanu took a sip. The tartness of lemon mixed with the sweet burst of fresh strawberries. It was perfect. This, he declared, is award-winning. You're a natural, Clara laughed, but then just as quickly her smile faded. She glanced at the street, her expression shifting into something more guarded. Keanu followed her gaze. Across the road, a woman stood watching them. She was wearing an old coat, her arms crossed tightly over her chest, her face lined with exhaustion. Keanu didn't need to ask. He knew. Your mom, he guessed gently. Clara gave a small nod, her fingers gripping the edge of the table. Well, she doesn't like me bothering people. Keanu met her gaze. Well, you're not bothering me? She exhaled softly, then quickly put on a smile as another customer approached. But Keanu had seen the truth in that moment. This wasn't just about lemonade or school or even theater. This was about something much bigger. And for the first time, Keanu realized that this story was only just beginning to finally breathe. As Keanu took a sip of the lemonade, he made an exaggerated expression of delight. Oh yeah, this is it. The official drink of champions. Clara giggled, shaking her head. You're the best salesman I've ever met. Hey, just telling the truth, Keanu replied with a grin. And speaking of selling, I think it's time we step this up. What if we set up a social media page? We could spread the word beyond just the neighborhood. Clara hesitated. I don't know. I've never really put myself out there like that. Keanu leaned in slightly. You don't have to do it alone. We can do it together. She thought about it for a moment, then nodded. All right, let's do it. That night, with Keanu's help, Clara set up an Instagram page for her stand. They posted photos of her colorful new sign, the bright lemonade cups, and, at Keanu's insistence, a picture of her in her apron beaming with pride. Almost instantly, comments started rolling in. People loved her story, loved the idea of supporting a young entrepreneur. By morning, her page had dozens of new followers, and something remarkable happened. The local community took notice. When Keanu arrived the next day, Clara was already overwhelmed with customers. People from different parts of the city had shown up, eager to try the lemonade and support her stand. I don't know how this happened, she exclaimed between pouring drinks. Keanu smiled knowingly. People love a story, Clara, and yours is one worth sharing. As the day went on, Clara's tip jar filled up faster than ever. She caught Keanu watching her, a satisfied look in his eyes. For the first time in a long time, she felt hopeful, not just for the lemonade stand, but for what might come next. And for the first time, she truly believed that maybe, just maybe, things were starting to change. As the weeks passed, Clara's lemonade stand became more than just a place to buy a refreshing drink. It had turned into a symbol of hope, resilience, and community spirit. Keanu had kept his word. Every day he found new ways to help Clara expand her vision. Whether it was reaching out to local businesses, rallying volunteers, or simply being a steady source of encouragement, he remained by her side through it all. One morning, Clara arrived at her stand to find a small group of people already gathered, waiting to help. Sure, to stand a group of kids eager to help spread the word. Seeing so many people coming together moved Clara to her core. This was bigger than her now. It was about something much greater than she had ever imagined. As she set up for the day, Keanu approached, holding a newspaper in his hands. "Oh, looks like someone made the front page," he said with a grin, handing it to Clara. She gasped as she read the headline. "A young girl's lemonade stand inspires a city." Below the title was a picture of her, smiling brightly behind her stand. "I don't believe it," she murmured. "How did this happen?" Keanu shrugged, his eyes twinkling. People love a good story. And yours, Clara, is one worth telling." As customers arrived, many of them congratulated her on the article, sharing words of encouragement and admiration. Among the visitors was Mr. Gonzalez, the grocery store owner Keanu had spoken to weeks ago. He walked up to Clara, handing her an envelope. "Some of us in the neighborhood took up a collection. We wanted to help with your brother's treatment." Clara's hands trembled as she took the envelope. "I don't know what to say." Mr. Gonzalez smiled warmly. "Just keep doing what you're doing." Tears welled in Clara's eyes, and she turned to Keanu, who simply nodded. "I told you big things were coming." Meanwhile, the mysterious man who had been watching from a distance returned. This time, he walked directly to Clara's mother, shaking her hand and handing her another business card. "Your new job starts Monday," he said, "and I've made some calls about your son's treatment. There's a clinic willing to take his case at no cost to you." Clara's mother covered her mouth, overwhelmed with gratitude. "I don't even know how to thank you." The man simply smiled. "Someone once helped me when I needed it. Now it's my turn." As the weeks went by, Clara's stand continued to flourish, but more importantly, her family's burdens began to lift. Her mother's new job provided them with stability, and her brother's condition improved with the help of the specialized care he was receiving. One afternoon, as Clara and Keanu sat on the curb, watching the bustling scene around them, she turned to him with a thoughtful expression. "Keanu, do you ever wonder why things happen the way they do?" Keanu leaned back, resting his hands behind his head, "All the time. But I like to believe that everything happens for a reason. Every struggle, every challenge, it all leads to something bigger." Clara nodded, staring at the stand that had once been just a small idea in her mind. "I used to think selling lemonade was just a way to make money. But now, it feels like something much more." Keanu smiled. "Because it is. You took something simple and turned it into a movement. You inspired people, Clara, and that's something truly special." As the sun began to set, Clara felt something she hadn't felt in a long time: peace. No matter what the future held, she knew one thing for certain: she wasn't alone. And with people like Keanu and the community by her side, anything was possible. Before heading home, Keanu gave her a final piece of advice. "Remember, Clara, most of what you need is already inside you. The rest, life will help you find." Clara smiled, holding on to those words as she walked away. And for the first time in a long while, she truly believed them.